January is upon us and a new Congress is about to take office. The Democrats are promising changes, but is there headline risk from the Congress for the stock and the bond market in January? The defensive here, either he digs in his heels or he looks conciliatory. How should he handle this?
Right. I hope that he pulls out his veto pen and fills it to the brim with ink and uses it every day. Now, he's already said that he'll agree to a hike in the minimum wage, but what's gotten less publicity is he said he would like to see that linked to tax breaks for small businesses who are most hurt by having to pay a higher minimum wage. So I think the Democrats are going to run into a wall. They're not going to get everything they want, or at least not without getting things that Republicans want attached to it. So it's not going to be as bad as they're trying to make us fear.
Yes, in either one of you, interesting comments have emerged on the street in the last few days as this has now become an issue about Hank Paulson, the Treasury Secretary. Some cynics on the floor, and I won't mention anybody in particular, have said they're concerned he might be a closet Democrat, that he might go along with some of these tax changes or tax increases. Any one of you, where is Hank Paulson going to come down on any of these thoughts about increasing minimum wage or increasing taxes for oil companies?
Well, Hank Paulson is from Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs is known on the street for being generally a liberal or Democratic-leaning firm. But believe me, Hank Paulson would not be in the Bush administration if his bona fides hadn't been completely checked. The biggest risk with Paulson is that he is going to try to compromise with the Democrats on trade in order to prevent the Democrats from passing massive taxes on goods that come into the United States from China. The risk is that Paulson is going to try to negotiate a depreciation of the dollar versus the Chinese yuan, which would be a serious restraint of Chinese-U.S. trade, but at least a lot better than a massive tariff put on by Congress. So the risk with Paulson is that that kind of appeasement is going to take place. But don't worry that he's a turncoat who's going to promote a Rubinomics agenda. That's not going to happen.
Iraq, one Democratic strategist I talked to said today, Bob, there's going to be an investigation today into Iraq, particularly in how former Defense Secretary Cheney managed that war. Is this really going to be a headline issue for the stock market, or is the basic outlines, or what the market feels the basic outlines, pretty well known?
Well, I think it's absolutely marvelous that Gerald Ford, who was treated by the media for years as being a dummy and a bumbler, now he writes some memo or gives some interview saying that he thinks Iraq was a mistake, and all of a sudden he's a foreign policy genius, and that's all over the media. If I weren't so shocked by the hypocrisy of the media, I'd be shocked by the hypocrisy of the media.
I will agree with you on one thing. There is a concerted effort to rewrite a little bit of perceived history about President Ford, that's for sure.